Alright, this last section in chapter 1 is section 9, dealing with perimeter, circumference, and the area of some basic shapes. This is going to be fairly short because it's isn't anything that should be new. You guys have probably seen these several times. So let's start off with our perimeter. So the perimeter is the distance it takes to go around an object. Okay, so it's how long it takes to go, or the distance around an object. For a square, it would just be 4 times s. So whatever one side is multiplied by 4. For a rectangle, it'd be 2 times the length plus 2 times the width, because again, a rectangle, if it's a rectangle but not a square, the opposite sides are going to be congruent. And so you would just have to double one of the lengths and then double the width and then add them together. And again, this is for rectangles and squares. If you just have a regular shape that has a whole bunch of different, that's not one of these, you just add up all the sides together. And the last one is circumference. So the circumference is equal to, there's two different formulas. There's either pi d, which pi, remember, is an irrational number, 3.14159, yada, 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 yada. That is pi. You have a pi button on your calculators, at least you should. And so you have your circumference, which is pi times d, or you can use the circumference is equal to 2 pi times r. D is the diameter, so that's the length from one side to another side of the circle, going through the center, and the radius is the distance from the center to one side. So you see you have two different ones, because the diameter is always twice your radius. Now, if you have a problem that says keep in terms of pi, if it says keep in terms of pi, what they're saying is that you do not multiply pi into it. So if it says keep in terms of pi, your answer will be like 7 pi, 12 pi, 114 pi. Okay, so you just write the number with the symbol pi next to it. If they want you to round it, they'll specifically say round to the nearest tens, hundreds, thousands, whatever it is. Then you multiply pi into it. Please be using the pi button. Don't be using 3.14 or what is it, 22 over 7 is the fraction sometimes used. Don't use those. Use the pi button. Pi button is the one that you should be using. Okay. Okay, so after perimeter, we've got our area. So the area is the amount of space that an object takes up. So how much is inside that figure. And with these, square is just one side, and then you square it, you multiply it by itself. Rectangle is length times width. Again, shouldn't be anything new. And then for a circle, there's only one formula. It is pi r squared. So you're going to square the radius, and then you multiply by pi. So with a circle, you need the radius to be able to find the area. If you know the diameter, cut it in half. So if your diameter was 10, radius would be 5. If your diameter was 30, radius would be 15. Okay, so whatever the diameter is, cut it in half, and that's your radius. Okay, so that's your area of your figures. Okay. And that's basically it. One last thing is to remember when you're writing perimeter, your units for those would be inches. So 18 inches would be fine for a perimeter. But for area, it's inches squared or centimeters squared. So if you want to find the area of a square, and you end up finding that it's 16, it'd be 16 inches squared. Okay, so area is squared inches or inches squared. Perimeter is just inch.